Hey everyone, I'm MrHarr, and welcome to the finale of Let's Play Driftmoon. In the last episode, we talked to the Spirit Forge, and we were able to forge a sword out of the silver feathers we'd been collecting along our adventure. We forged the Invincible Sky. The Invincible Sky is a sword made from King Ixal's forge, increases your maximum mana by 50 points, and the special abilities of Invincible Sky. Probably went over that in the last episode, but it speeds up our movements. Then we kind of destroyed the generators that were stopping us from getting to Ixal, and now we're about to go fight him, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go. At first glance, you expect to see the hole filled up with boiling lava, but there's only darkness. You can make out a small ladder that leads into the unknown depths. I don't like the look of this. If we go down there, we'd better make sure we're prepared. There could be anything waiting for us at the bottom. We're ready. Let's go ahead and climb down. As soon as you climb down, a tall man hurries to you from the other side of the room. You're ready to draw out your weapons, but the man steps out of the shadow. Your astonishment overwhelms you. It's Winston, your own father. He looks very surprised to see you, but his expression quickly turns into a fatherly smile. Are my eyes deceiving me, Harrison? My son, what a surprise. What a surprise it is to see you. I thought you'd been petrified. I saw it with my own eyes. Your father looks considerably more worn out, and many years older than when you last saw him, only a winter ago. His hand shakes as he offers it to you. My own son, I'm so glad you could come. I see you've brought a friend. It's very nice to finally meet you, Sarah. I've heard so much about you. Sarah opens her mouth, but can't get a word out. Father, Ixal got the gems, and Robert's disappeared. Don't worry, Harrison, Robert is safe. I have the gems right here. He looks down smiling and carefully examines the ornate necklace on his neck. The Pendant of Resurrection. You've done such excellent work finding all the gems, Harrison, and to think the little jewel that our family had was actually part of such a magnificent artifact. Look at this small pendant. Look at it. The small pendant is the source of Ixal's power. This is what he used to bring back millions of dead people. Oh yes, it's a common misconception that Ixal mindlessly killed people. But you see, Harrison, it wasn't that he took life, but that he gave life. Winston looks into your eyes solemnly, his hand still shaking. I know you're still young, Harrison, but have you ever thought about what happens when you die? What if there is no afterlife? What if this life is the only one you get? Your one and only chance to accomplish something. The one chance to reach your dreams and leave a mark on this world. I know there are people who swear to know the truth, but who can say for certain that there truly is an afterlife? And if there is no afterlife, wouldn't you rather live after death, even if you had to live as a skeleton? That's the Pendant of Resurrection. That's what the Pendant of Resurrection does. It gives life, a life after death. Winston breathes deeply, his hand shaking as he smoothed the wrinkles on his robe. I remember when you were a small boy, and you were so afraid of death and dying. Who wouldn't be? But that's all in the past for us now. What do you say, my son? Will you join me and share the Pendant of Resurrection with me? Together we will live forever, and bring back life to all those who have died. Your mother, all of our friends at Northdrop, everyone. Paul told me we must purify the pendant. Wasn't that your plan, Father? But you see, it is no longer required. Suddenly your father's voice twists strangely, and it looks like he's choking. He whispers, Get away, Harrison! It's Ixal! He instantly lifts up his arms to his face, his hand shaking harder than ever, and with a blast of light, his face returns to normal. Only a few beads of sweat mark the disturbance. He looks at you expectantly. Please, let me explain. Who are you? What have you done to my father? The older man with an unbelievable likeness to your father looks down for a moment, appearing to be deep in thought. Then he turns his eyes to you, with a look much colder than that of your father's. I can see there is no need to pretend any further. Yes, I am Ixal, but allow me to help you understand. Now his hands are completely steady. For 1,000 years my soul was locked inside one of the gems, the gem that came to Winston, the alchemist, your father. I don't know why he started his experiments on the gem, but I sense my chance has finally come. With my gentle guidance, he continued studying the gem, and it didn't take long till I was free at last. Out of kindness, Winston chose to share his body with me. I was overjoyed. I could finally resume my important mission. Ixal's victorious smile fades, and he furrows his brows. Unfortunately, Winston's body hasn't handled our collaboration as well as I'd hoped, and it seems to be aging faster than expected. But no matter, it will function long enough, and my mission will succeed. I don't believe you. You forced my father into this. Please, you must understand, I'm not the monster you think I may be. I know what the history books say I did, but they're wrong. They never truly understood what my Pendant of Resurrection does. With it, I can bring back life to all our loved ones, an everlasting empire in Driftmoon, where no one has to die, and we are so close. But the fools broke the pendant. They are responsible for countless deaths. Ixal looks down at the Pendant of Resurrection. But now I can start again. I can repair the wrongs. No, you monster! You were the one responsible. Before she has a chance to finish her sentence, Ixal raises his staff and points it at her. You try to react to stop Ixal, but for some reason, you're unable to raise your weapons. A cold, blinding light floods the cave. As your vision returns, you see poor sweet Sarah, a permanent expression of fear petrified on her face. The courageous young woman who followed you straight into the monster's lair and stood right by your side is now petrified and lost in the same devastating darkness that her potion just revived you from. But what about her share of the potion? She didn't take the Moonwheel potion after all. She must have told you that to make you drink the whole bottle yourself. And now, without the slightest hesitation, Ixal has turned Sarah into ice-cold stone. You try to shout at Ixal to take the spell back, but no voice escapes your throat. Never interrupt King Ixal when he speaks. Ixal roars louder than a giant, and the whole room shakes. The furious man forces a calmer voice out of his throat. I do not want to harm you. Ixal pinches the bridge of his nose and sighs, looking very tired. It was her own fault. She should not have, but I can bring her back to life again. I've had to stop many people who have not understood, but I will soon give them life with the pennant of resurrection. Then they will realize how wrong they were. I too didn't understand it at first, not until my precious Queen Aranor strangled me in my sleep and revived me. Ixal's neck twitches for a few seconds, as if reliving the memory, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by it. You must have noticed up above, I also had to petrify that thieving Paul the Librarian. He tried the same trick as he did last time we met, all those years ago. He tried to steal the pendant, but this time I was ready for him. He was your last hope, wasn't he? Ixal smiles gleefully. Maybe you can help me. Or perhaps you are still hoping that your firefly will save you. He points at the table at the center of the room. Your little friend was brought to me just a while ago. I've tried to explain things to him, but he still refuses to see reason. Come. You try to raise your weapons, but for some reason you feel compelled to follow Ixal. What's going on? Ixal opens the cover of a small cage and steps back. At first glance, you can only see the semi-transparent magical field, but a closer look reveals the almost immobile face of the firefly, his once bright green lamp barely glowing. Did you know your friend isn't a regular firefly? No, this is a very rare breed indeed. I've never seen one quite like it, possibly the last of its kind. Ixal peers inside the cage carefully. What a strange little creature, so powerful yet so small. When I didn't have the pendant, the little thing could have hurt me, even destroyed me. Can you imagine the odds of finding one just when I was about to meet you for the first time? I wasn't prepared for him yet, so I couldn't meet you earlier, but now I'm more than prepared now. Ixal rattles the cage with his staff and stares intently at Fizz, his exhausted eyes glowing with a strange red light. He's a little tired after our talks. I do hope he won't die too soon. I wouldn't want to harm anyone, not a fly. I've tried every manner of spell on him to make him see sense. For some reason, magic doesn't seem to work on him. But that is irrelevant. I have something that works on him now. It is a shame to waste such a unique life, even a small one like this. But he just won't see what we're trying to accomplish here. Fizz starts buzzing defiantly, doing loops in the air. Harrison, you're alive! But don't believe Ixal. Your father didn't choose to help him. No, no, no. That monster is forcing Winston's body under his will, and your father's suffering awfully. Ixal only wants endless power. Never ever give up, Harrison. Ixal quickly slips the tip of your staff inside the magical field of the cage, and with surprising speed, smashes the little firefly to the bottom of the cage. The crushed little body of Fizz remains in the bottom of the cage, his green light now completely out. Do you understand now? I am offering you eternal life to everyone on Driftmoon, every man, woman, child in harmony and peace. When my kingdom is complete, no one needs to die of old age. There will be no hunger, there will be no war, only peace. Your brother, Robert, already understands. He's one of us, one of the Endless Empire. Don't worry, one day you will be grateful too. Ixal examines his pendant, then he lifts up his head, his ice-cold, piercing eyes turn back to you. But first, to receive the gift of undeath, you must die. He raises his staff. Robert would never join you, and neither will I. We shall see. A few years inside stone might do wonders to your ignorant attitude. Ixal's burning eyes stare directly into yours. This time, Harrison, no one will come in to save you. Feel the full power of my wrath. As you try to run, but your muscles won't move at all, as if they were completely paralyzed. What is this? You can do nothing but stand still while Ixal's staff sends another blinding light beam, one that feels bright enough to burn your eyes straight out of your head. But a few blinks later, you don't feel the wee bit more petrified than before. In fact, you notice you've suddenly regained the use of your arms and legs. You finally feel able to resist Ixal's power. Ah! Ixal bellows, his voice making the whole cave shake. Of course! The girl delivered you some foul potions. The whales must have their fins in this. How very inconvenient. But it's just a minor delay. The potion may shield you from that particular spell, but it won't shield you from others. Die! Alright, final battle with Ixal. It's not too hard of a battle, except he will occasionally teleport away and, ow, light this on fire when it's red hot. It burns you, but by the same token, you can actually turn the valves and get Ixal if, you know, he didn't move out of the way. If you do, oh, well, he'll try that again. Also, he shoots exploding things, as you probably could tell. If you can catch him on the valves, then he, where'd he go? Oh, okay. Catch him on the valves, then he will actually destroy whatever valve you just used, so you, oops, can't use the same valve twice. I don't think you should need to. Let's go ahead and use it a tower shield. When he, okay, let's get off that. Whenever he, he can also burn himself, which is interesting. Whenever he gets down to lower health, he'll summon this lava titan. I would just suggest you ignore it, to be honest. You can avoid its attacks pretty easily, and just get Ixal one-on-one, and, oh, almost there. Let's just try and use this, see where he is. Where'd he go? Okay, I'm lost. Where, oh, he destroyed that one. I guess we got him a little bit. Okay, there we go. Maybe if we could get close to him. Okay, hey, there we, oh, we won? That works, okay. As you strike the, as we strike the final blow, sure, why not? Ixal falls down on the floor and starts twitching fiercely. A blast of light emerges from Ixal and is absorbed by the petrified statue of your friend Sarah. Your father's body looks completely lifeless. For a moment, everything in the room is still and quiet. Before you get the chance to let out a sigh of relief, a strange light appears in the eyes of the Sarah statue. A strange high-pitched voice echoes from within the body of the stone. I will make this body mine. But as you turn to face the statue of Sarah, you can hear a whisper coming from the direction of your father's body. Harrison, please, come closer. Thanks, Feagle. The red light is gone from your father's eyes. He lies on the floor very strangely, as if he were paralyzed. He smiles to you faintly. Thank the Maker you heard me, son. There's something that must be done, but I can't feel my legs or my arms. I can't do this by myself. You must do it. He coughs out blood. Your gaze is drawn to the pendant on your father's neck. You can feel its power, even from a distance. Listen to me, son. Take the pendant, quickly, before that monster Ixal gains control of your Sarah's body. Okay, let's take the pendant. You carefully remove the pendant from your father's neck. It feels cold to the touch, and extremely heavy. As you examine the powerful necklace, you notice intricate carvings in the golden parts. Angels using the pendant to make flowers bloom. Angels healing the injured. You can't help but wonder whether Ixal was right all along. Is the magic of the pendant the only afterlife there is? If that's true, wouldn't it be wrong to destroy it? Now, son, please, take the pendant to the firefly. It must be cleansed of the taint Ixal put on it. Winston winces. He must be in terrible pain. Alright. We'll take it to Fizz. Poor Fizz lies on the floor of the cage. You cannot tell whether he's alive or not. Fizz, are you alive? A single wing flutters a few times. Fizz might still be alive, but just barely. Place the pendant in front of Fizz. As you open the door of Ixal's magical cage and place the pendant just a few centimeters from your tiny friend Fizz. Harrison, I don't feel so good. Fizz focuses his little tired eyes on you, his green light blinking to life again, and he fixes a determined gaze on the pendant. You know, Harrison, I've always wanted to be a big star. I'm ready. I'll see you on the other side. Fizz touches the evil pendant. An explosion of light and sound knocks you back. When you recover from the worm-blinding blast, the pendant floats in the air above you, burning your eyes with a light that is both warm and beautiful. In some mysterious way, you are instantly convinced. The jewel floating in the air beside you is no longer the pendant of resurrection that Ixal forged to revive the dead onto a twisted unlife. It is no tool of destruction, but a tool of life, touched by the heavens. The true, purified pendant of life. Slowly the pendant of life starts rotating, sending out thousands of light beams in different directions. One of them hits your father, and soon you. As the light beam touches you, you feel strangely cheerful and elated, but nothing visible happens. Finally, one light beam hits Sarah, and with a terrible last scream, Ixal's spirit leaves Sarah's statue, and vanquishes into thin air. The lights from the pendant stop, and it falls to the floor, blackened and crumbled. As you try to touch it, there is nothing left but dust. Then, all of a sudden, you feel a friendly hand pat you on your back comfortingly. It's all over now, then. Your father inspects the room around you carefully, gasping audibly as he notices Sarah, still made of stone, solid stone. He goes on, looking shaken. I really thought everyone, your mother, Sarah, all our friends, would have been awakened from stone by the cleansed pendant of life. But I see Ixal's foul magics were too much for the pendant. I can hardly believe it. It's crumpled to dust by the effort. Winston looks down at the ashes of the pendant, a wistful look on his aged face. Then he closes his eyes and shakes his head. Oh, I pray we could have saved everyone. Your father is silent for a moment, then he turns his eyes back to you. But my son, never think you have failed. No, not in the least. The evil King Ixal was finally defeated, and will no longer commit his atrocities. You have made it possible for all those who have survived to live without constant fear. Winston smiles sorrowfully. Harrison, my son, words can't express how proud of you I am. You have succeeded where I failed miserably. You are stronger than your father's, my son. Don't blame yourself, father. King Ixal had taken you over, and you couldn't help it. I do try to remember that, but if I'm perfectly honest, it's very difficult living with the knowledge of all those terrible things Ixal's accomplished when he's in control of me. But easy or not, I will have to live with it. How I wish there was still some way for all of Ixal's horrors to become undone. I will spend my life searching for a cure. Though I fear hope that died with the pendant of life. Your father stares at the ground blindly, a look of devastation in his eyes, but suddenly there is a change in the room. A strange tingling sound makes you both turn quickly turn your heads in the direction of Sarah. A cloud of glowing dust forms around Sarah's statue. It circles the statue, moving at a tremendous speed, making it difficult to catch a clear sight of the statue. Then the dust is absorbed by the statue. What was that, son? Did you see what I saw? One of the statue's fingers moved, just a tiny fraction, but enough to make you both jump. Could Ixal have survived? Your father stares at the statue in awe. But as he watches the color of return to Sarah's cheeks, his expression turns into an amazed smile, then a triumphant grin. Son, it's a miracle. I was wrong to ever doubt our Maker and the healing powers of the pendant of life. The pendant is working. It just took a while for the effects to become visible. Even as we speak, all of Ixal's monstrous deeds must be reversing, one by one. Harrison, your friend Sarah, she's really waking up now. Your father smiles joyfully, giving you a gentle push in the direction of Sarah. The spell is broken, and Sarah is no longer a statue. The young woman quickly approaches you, flashing a relieved smile. I'm so happy to be back to life again. You saved me, Harrison. I knew you would. Sarah gives you a hug, her cheeks blushing softly. It was horrible. First I was all alone. Then Ixal tried to force my mind away from my body and leave me in the darkness forever. If it hadn't been for you... Oh, I started to think about it. Sarah turns back to you again, smiling. You've stopped Ixal, Harrison. You're a real hero. Her eyes twinkle as she looks at you shyly. It's over now. There's something I'd like to ask you before, I know you're probably busy, but I have a pretty nice submarine mate waiting back home, and I've been thinking I'd like to go out and see the rest of Driftmoon. I mean, when things settle down a bit. Sarah looks down and takes a deep breath and looks at you again. Would you like to come with me? She holds her hand out to you, and the red shade of her cheeks grows even deeper. Let's take her hand. Take Sarah's hand in my own, and your own. You know what I mean. Sure, I'll come with you. I've always wanted to see the whole moon. Great, Harrison. Let's go. The two of you head out to the fortress to meet all of your loved ones and friends, hand in hand. Every now and then, Sarah takes a little glance at you, smiling sweetly. The adventures you two encountered together were far from over. After a time of unthinkable fear, Driftmoon was finally at peace. Ixal's foul deeds had been undone, and life returned to the petrified people. The celebrations were grand and joyous, full of life and love, and an overwhelming feeling of relief. But even though the threat of Ixal was past, the people were never really the same. Those who used to take the many blessings in their lives for granted had been awakened to realize how much they very nearly lost, and to notice that all is precious and beautiful in their lives. As Brother Paul put it, Ixal would have been appalled to know, in spite of his despicable intentions, he in fact taught the people of Driftmoon to think deeper, see wider, and look higher. Paul often spoke like that. Mitten, the disembodied hand, returned to life. For some reason, it still refused to reattach itself to Farmer Potho's arm. Instead, it became a prominent writer of science fiction novels, where a lonely hand fights criminals with gunpowder, rockets, and electricity. And, though most readers never found it as intimidating as the author intended, the handshake of death. After hearing too many loud noises at the famous fight in the gates of Morrsarmouth, Fred the Piper nearly quit his work as a superhero. But when Rince the Hatmaker made him a beautiful green cape with a large letter F embroidered on it, Fred finally agreed to make a comeback. He became a legend in his own time, rescuing those in need of help, at least if they managed to shout out Fred's name first and didn't need rescuing too quickly. Buddy the Heroic abandoned his adventuring career. He worked briefly as a flooring inspector, but eventually found his true calling selling fine leather jackets. Sure, why not? Good for you, Birdie. The boogeyman vanished without a trace at Morrsarmouth. That's kind of a shame. I would have liked to know more about the boogeyman. He seems like an interesting character. Anyway. The tail of Belinda, the wolf mother of Northrop, wagged fast. The tail. Oh, okay, wrong. I was thinking tail like a story, and then. Okay, never mind. The tail of Belinda, the wolf mother of Northrop, wagged faster than a degoose when her dearest wish finally came true. After spending weeks and weeks faithfully by the side of her stony cub Jazz, her little one suddenly sprang to life and instantly started chasing her tail. Both the canines learned an important lesson. Belinda realized that it is sometimes wise to place your trust even in a person you first doubted, while Jazz, on the other hand, learned it's not a great idea to lick the face of every stranger that walks down your path. Both of those are pretty good advice. Much to the joy of our feline subjects, Queen Velvet III returned to her panther kingdom, her royal fur coat shining brighter than ever before. For some reason, the magical ashes flying from the volcano of Morrsarmouth had done wonders to her fur, a fact of which Velvet herself seemed most pleased. After the war ended, the Raccoon Resistance helped return all the panthers that had been taken prisoner and build a permanent peace treaty. The leaders of the Raccoon Resistance later admitted that subduing the anger of the noble Queen Velvet III had required not only the most carefully written official apology and the most respectful reception arranged in her honor, but also a fair amount of the most expensive panther delicacies, bobley and fish heads, and rare chocolate-covered ruby snails. Yeah, everyone has their preferences. I don't know. Ever since Captain Catdog found out the terrible undead man of Yoni had actually been your brother Robert all along, his dreams about Yoni started to change from nightmares to pleasant ones. Finally, he couldn't resist the temptation any longer. He returned to Yoni and started his own Lost Island theme park. The theme park was a huge success. Not a soul was lost to the currents of Yoni. The captain would dock his passengers directly to Bobby's Little Hermit Island, and they'd travel through the Eleanor tunnels to get safely to the main island. Crowds of people came to chat with the giant statue Rapakibi. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Visit the mythical underwater passages of Eleanor and its geysers, see the infamous mechanical snatchers, and take part in Capdog's Speak Like a Sailor crash course. Ixal's long and terrifying reign inside Winston's skin had left its mark on your father, and it took him quite a while to return back to his normal life. But after many years of recovery time, your father was looking decades younger again, and even built up the courage to start working in his alchemy shop once more. The terrible things Ixal forced your father to witness had grown in him an exceptionally strong tendency to help anyone in need, be it a beggar or a common fly. But as admirable as his newfound altruistic intentions were, the time he decided to help Farmer Plotho's hungry Grotblech find dinner proved to be an exaggeration of his ideals, or more plainly put, a bad idea. Fortunately, your father had always been a remarkably fast runner. Your mother, Marietta? I don't know. Marita. Something. It's a name. Was overjoyed to welcome her husband and both her sons home in one piece. Having gotten a personal experience of the life of a statue herself, she gave up on her old dream of designing a gorgeous rock garden. But being a woman of action, your mom, quickly developed a new hobby, rock climbing, which eventually led to her climbing whole mountains. Even though she was no longer a younger gal, your mother finally became the first Driftmoonian to climb on top of the notorious Mount Marshmallow. As fun as it was the first time around, she never ever pushed you down the well again. Aw, what a great mom, never pushing us down a well a second time. Word inherited his father's tavern, and the taverning business boomed when Harrison persuaded Hogpuff the Brave to start drinking his milk at North Drop Inn. Sure, I guess. I'm not sure. Never mind. Whatever. Saria asked Word to marry her, and she outright refused to take no for an answer. Her wedding ring was decorated by a very familiar-looking shiny blue diamond. See, I'm wondering if it would still say that, the shiny blue diamond part, if we actually hadn't given it to her. I'm not really sure if it would, but oh well. The monks of the East Abbey were relieved to have their old abbot back again, and to see the good name of Paul the Librarian restored. Sherman was eager to turn the monastery's newfound rotating maze into a tourist attraction, but eventually gave up his plans when he had to be rescued by Wislam and the other monks after spending a whole day lost inside the maze. Well, I guess he doesn't have an overhead view of it. Or didn't. Anyway. After spending years training his ants and being called the Crazy Ape Man, Tooth's remarkable talent was finally noticed and was recognized as the ingenious commander of the 5th Ant Legion. Tooth and his trained ants served in the military, winning many battles against their now well-tickled opponents. After his famous victory against the ferocious giant anteater, he is finally awarded a new set of teeth by Quan Six Fingers. Good for Tooth. I'm just curious what he did with his one tooth. Can denture, or I don't know, never mind. Blotch spent day after day on Bobby's small island, waiting for the whale. When the big girl finally arrived, she apologized and said she'd accidentally swum across a very talented, or large-lung, whale choir along the way, and completely lost track of time, singing whale songs. That's the drawback of scheduling a meeting with a whale. They are such enthusiastic singers that once they get started, you never know when the song will end. But aside from a rather bumpy beginning to their duet, they quickly hit a common note and have been great friends ever since. Blotch has gotten to see wonder after wonder, hitching a ride in the mouth of his big-hearted sweetie. Okay, strange combination. Then again, he's a pirate crab, so yeah. Annie and William traveled back to their new home at Norman Docks, which had already returned to the tropical paradise it was supposed to be. They had a joyous reunion with William's father and all the other villagers who had been awakened from their petrified state. Within a few years, William and Annie had comfortably settled in at Norman Docks, adopted Hokey, the Dagoo, obsessed with the strange new sport, and the smithy of William and his father became the most renowned one in Driftmoon. After successfully defending Driftmoon at the gates of the impenetrable fortress, Annie got so excited about using the bow and arrow that she started taking part in sharpshooting competitions again, and was soon recognized throughout Driftmoon for her amazing talent. Blotch and his whale friends even composed a whole musical in Annie's honor titled "Annie, Get Your Bow." That sounds familiar? I mean, just with "Someone Get Your Gun." Is it Johnny Get Your Gun? Is it from the song Over There? Johnny, get your gun. It may be something like that. Anyway, unfortunately, though the length of the musical was perfect for a moon whale, most of the land-dwelling members of the audience that didn't fall asleep quietly sneaked away about halfway through the show. A few years later, Annie and William's family grew up with the twins, Emil and Melon, whose favorite bedtime story described the deeds of the great hero Harrison, who brought their mom and dad together and saved Driftmoon from the terrible rule of King Ixal. Repakivi was left on Ioni, where he spent many more years waiting for someone to talk to. But even more than that, he was waiting for someone to come and scratch his nose, which itched terribly. Finally, one fateful day, Captain CatDog returned to the island and opened his Lost Island theme park, with the mechanical snatcher attraction and an all-night underwater Illinoisan restaurant. The tourists nearly drove Repakivi mad, constantly climbing on his forehead and begging him to foretell their future, when even his idea of the present time was limited to the view he had from his permanent guard post. Repakivi didn't complain. His occasional irritation was always surpassed by his happiness of never being alone or itchy again. When Ixal's magic broke, Robert returned to his former self. Bones, muscles, and skin, and all the other bits suddenly came back. Though Robert never complained that he would have minded getting more hair. Wouldn't have minded getting more hair than he originally had. But your brother never lost his wisdom, the deep insight of life that he had gained during his many centuries he spent traveling the historical Driftmoon. No one was more surprised than Robert himself when his deepest dreams finally came true. Robert met Inaya, a lovely woman who soon made him a happily married man. He even resumed his job as an inventor and a smith, though he is careful not to compete too much with William's smithy. When Robert's friend Charlie the Wombat found a rich gold seam in Robert's basement, the whole place was turned into a gold mine. But after 2 years of digging, Robert donated all the gold away and never told anyone why. Professor Dorr was pleased to hear that his research assistants had saved the world. Like professors everywhere, he argued the credit for everything his employees should go to him, but uncharacteristically, he settled for a mere mention in the history records. Soon after the fall of Ixal, Professor Dorr moved to the Rakan territories to study the behavior of lizards in the wild. The rescue party found no trace of him, only his glasses. I wish I could say I was sad, but I didn't really like Professor Dorr, unfortunately. Quan Six Fingers eventually got tired of his nickname, and being a true salesman, he fixed the problem by selling his sixth finger. Thereafter, he was officially known as Quan Five Fingers, though most of his new friends never seemed to remember his fancy new name. To reconcile his differences with his wife Sherry, Quan decided to abandon his old career in the black market sales, and figured he would take up a more respectable profession. But when Quan became a famous politician, some said it was all thanks to his his befitting hat, while some others were quite convinced that his former career was the more respectable one. So, the Pin of Resurrection, like, it changed Robert back, but were Quan Six Fingers and Sherry actually from, or did they come from the Pin of Resurrection, or were they just skeletons? I don't know. Oh well, maybe it's explained somewhere, but I'm not really remembering it. The ancient ghost elder, who vanished while defending his guard post from Ixal's troops invading Elder's tomb, briefly returned to Driftmoon, claiming that to come from the kingdom of heaven to deliver an important message to Paul the librarian. But Elder was no longer a ghost. He looked like a young man in his 20s, and before his mysterious disappearance, many had a hard time believing that he was truly the spectral guardian of the tomb. When pressed for details about the afterlife, he would only say that he was in no position to tell anything, and that people could ask the Maker directly. Paul the librarian soon remained as mysterious and reclusive as ever. Soon after the celebrations, he vanished on a long voyage, with only the vague promise of trying to find you as soon as he could get back. To the joy and surprise of everyone, even Hannah, New Moon of Northrop, returned to Driftmoon. Without a scar on her face, on her once badly burnt skin, she was no longer a ghost, but it was soon evident she had come back a changed woman. When shy and withdrawn, the months she had spent away from this life seemed to have helped her find a new way of embracing it, and accepting herself for who she was. This new Hannah had such a warm, caring attitude toward everyone that the more cynical individuals claimed it had made them sick to their stomachs. In fact, she was quickly given the new nick. Is that supposed to be nickname? Anyway. A new nick, Hannah the Angel. When Hannah overheard her new name, she whispered something which almost sounded like "how fitting," and flashed a mysterious little smile, like she had kind of like she had a secret no one else knew about. The giant snowman that froze Gnomon Docks was never seen again until one day. But what happened next is a whole new story. I want to know that story. Instant Kingdom, get to work on that. I would actually like to see a story about that. Anyway. That's the end of Driftmoon. Thank you for playing, Harrison. Developed by Vil and Annie Monakin. I probably butchered those names. I'm sorry. Music by Gareth Meek. Soundtrack available on Bandcamp. All portraits okay, except the portrayals of Word and Sarah by Vil. I don't know. If you want to continue playing, try one of the many mods and games that have been made through the Driftmoon editor. They're available through the main menu. I might just do that. Thanks. Okay, so this is more credit stuff. I don't know, if you are curious, you can pause and look at it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go over here. Okay. Where did everyone go? Hello? Is that Fizz? I'm guessing it's Fizz. Alright, well, that was Driftmoon. After Let's Playing this game, I still really like it. I think it's just kind of charming and innocent, but it's fun. It's kind of quirky, and I like it. Arshy blows, no false alarm. That was just an island. Oh, because he's waiting for a whale. Yeah, so I don't know what really else to say. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I wonder if she'll really show up. I don't know. I think I've kind of showed the menu before, but anyway. Suddenly I have this terrible urge to sing. Don't think I can hold the song in much longer. I wonder if moon whales can really fly. Here it comes. One night I couldn't stand the snore. I scribbled on the captain's door. Judging by your sleeping sound, you ought to lose a pound. Wait, no. Lost all my mates and earned the... Wait, and this isn't my luck. Marooned and truly stuck. On the ship I'd raise the sails and whisper dead men tell no tales. Unfortunate, or so it seems. But now there's time for dreams. An ample patch of diver's weed, and that's all a pirate needs. Time to meet a lovely mermaid gal, or make a fishy pal. Now if I had a pitch of grog, my head wouldn't be in a fog. Anyway, so I don't know if you're curious about this game. It's on Steam, and it's also in. You can actually download it from Instant Kingdom's website, instantkingdom.com. I'll put a link in the description, unless I forget. I probably won't, but if I do, hey, actually, if you need to know how to spell it, it's right here. But I would actually really suggest this game. Picking it up, it's a nice little indie title. And other than that, I thank you guys for watching this. You are really awesome. And I hope you guys have an awesome day, /night, /morning, /evening, /whatever other vaguely specific time there is. And I always mess up on that, oh well. And I think that's about it. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.